right, 30 seconds. All right. Three, two, one. Let's go. All right, welcome everybody. My name is David Garibaldi. Welcome to Paint Life Live. Also, please welcome our live audience as well. Say hello to them, show them some love. So as you're joining us, definitely join the chat. The chat is down below. Let me know where you're watching this from. So your city, state, country, wherever that is, just let me know down below. I've got 2 paintings for you today, and we're gonna get started very, very soon. So real quick hello, of course, always checking in. My mom is always like on it. I'm surprised she's not here, unless she is hiding somewhere. But hi to my mom, thanks for checking in. Also, Ada Lopez Porter from El Paso, Texas, welcome. And again, wherever you are in the world, just let me know so we can shout you out in the chat. I've got it up here in front of me, and then also I'll have it up on my phone as well. So a couple things before we get into this, the first painting is we had a big week last week. I got to finally make this dream come true, and we finally launched a new podcast. So has anyone heard the podcast yet? All right, my mom heard it, awesome. We have, we're going to Spotify, they're like, you have 1 download from Sacramento, California. But no, the reason why I wanted to do this podcast is, the more we've done these live streams, I just feel more comfortable in these long form, scenarios. It's so hard to get things across and share ideas with the world in 15-second clips, which we'll still do that. But the podcast is really a platform for me to share about the paint method. So yes, we'll share some stories. Yes, there's some creative mindset things, but the paint method is how I look back on my creative journey, but also how I look at life and create it going forward by using these pillars of paint, which is passion, action, intent, new, and teach. And so the stories that I share on there really are examples of how I've applied those, and also the guests that join me on there. So it's available right now on, we have it on YouTube and also Spotify, and then the next one will be available soon on Google and wherever else podcasts are at. So real quick, hello to Micah from Denmark watching. Welcome to you. And let me check these Instagram. Let's see, shout out to Sharon Campbell who's watching. Let's see, and then just let me know too where you're watching from so we can shout out your city, state, or country. We're getting into the first painting in about 2 minutes right now. So wherever you're watching this as well, be sure to share this. So that's the best way to support these live streams, is share it to your friends' DM. If you're on Facebook, share it on your page, and we'll just share this love. The inspiration for the 2 paintings I'm doing today, these 2 have been brewing for a while, but the first one, we're just gonna, when we get into it, you'll start to see why. It's just, we're gonna show some love to some people in the world that need a lot of it right now. So that's mostly all of us, but specifically, you'll see as it comes to life. Quick hello to Brad Henderson, and yes, howdy David. He said P-A-I-N-T, dough, yes. You're gonna hear a lot about paint as this year goes on. It's really just the beginning, so keep in tune. So Mark Weiner, watching from New York City, welcome. And also someone from our studio audience is also in the chat. So there we go. Is it Caroline? Caroline, welcome in both places. And also Gilbert Gibbs, 18, sending love from Far, Texas. Art Tony in Tampa, Florida, welcome to you. And you know what? I know we have a minute left, but can we get into the painting right now, the first one? Let's just go ahead, let's get into it. Let's go. Here we go, there we go. All right, welcome everybody, we are back. We're gonna get into the first painting, but real quick, just show some love to our live audience here with us today. And here's what's amazing, most of the people here in the live audience were registered because they're on our text list, right? Are you guys on our text list? Maybe some of them saw my story, really didn't put it out there, so I appreciate you all just registering and being here. If you want to join in the future, visit garibaldiarts.com/studio or text me 916-866-8101. Let's get into it. All right. We're going to take our time with this. Let's go ahead and just establish some of the figures on here. And again, those of you that are watching, feel free to ask your questions down below in the chat. Ray back there is going to let me know what those are, and I'll do my best to answer those. They can be art related, they can be life related. I'm pretty open to it. What's that? I know. I think it's our best looking audience as well. I said that to the last audience, but I'm going to keep saying that to every audience going forward. All right, let's get into this. So when I start these paintings, I always like to start with the undertone. So any color that's going to sit in the back. And I say sit in the back because I start to visualize these paintings as an object. You know, it's almost like I visualize shining a light on these shapes that are on the canvas, imagining that they're shapes. And so I start to think about, okay, what shadows are going to sit in the background, and let's go ahead and paint those first. It took a while to figure that out, probably like 10 years until I figured out that technique, but start applying it now. Artists that are watching, you never stop learning. I probably learned more about painting in the past 2 years than I have in the 20 years that I've been doing this professionally. And part of it was just time. You know, with the pandemic and the world coming to a halt, the best thing I did to just keep myself sane was just to learn, to never stop that. And I would wake up in the morning, watch YouTube videos on just like, literally I would pull up videos, how to paint, or how to paint a face, or an eyeball, and I would just sit there and just learn. So I'm trying to apply that to these experiences. All right, we'll keep building this up. You notice I'm very messy when I'm painting. I'm not trying to be careful because I want the painting to feel like it's moving, to feel like it's alive. I'm not going for perfection, just going for progress. Are there any artists in the audience, the live audience? Got some, all right. Artists, feel free to, Cristiano, there's a microphone there, not to put you on blast, but you know, maybe you can ask a question that other artists may want to know as well, so. I'm sorry, what was that, Ray? Great question. So someone asked, what age did I start painting? So technically, I didn't start painting until I was 20. So I did not touch acrylics and canvas until I was 20 years old. So the first lesson there, it is never, ever too late to start. But I did paint with spray paint. On trains and walls and businesses that I didn't own, so I apologize. Maybe that's why I want to like give away so much stuff, because I feel the guilt of, it's like guilt giving, is that a thing? We just made it a thing. But no, I was 20 years old, and to be honest, I was on the verge of just losing everything. So my apartment was about to be evicted from that. My car was about to be repossessed. I mean, literally on paper, the last thing I should have been doing is painting. Like, I should have been applying for jobs at the time, but what I felt like was, you know, physical things were being taken from me. Physical things were things that I wasn't being responsible with. And so I really thought about, you know, the creativity that I wasn't using. I knew it was there, I just wasn't using it. Get rid of these brushes. And so I just went and got my first brushes, paints. I went and started painting live at a local pub, and it was history since then. So I was 20, I'm 39 now. Please someone else do the math, because I can't. All right, let's use these. All right, let's get into this. Another thing you'll see me doing is I'm holding as far back as I can on the paintbrush. So those of you that are trying to create looser paintings so that they don't feel as constricted, it's totally cool if you want to, but if you really want to loosen up your paintings, just hold further back so you're using the motion of your arm rather than the motion of your wrist. And you'll just have more access to the surface. All right, great questions, by the way. Keep those coming in the chat. Again, live audience, there's a mic there for you. Don't be shy all of a sudden. It's okay. Ooh, is there a painting that I've done that I always have a soft spot for? I think obviously the painting on the side of my bed of my girlfriend Shadi. Everyone has a 6-foot portrait of their significant other, right? She told me that. She said everyone does that, so no. No, I think, you know, my faith is important to me, so I think always the most sentimental one is the Jesus painting that I do time and time again, and it's just, even though it is supposed to be an entertaining moment, I still go to a place that's very spiritual and emotional for me, so that's always gonna be a special one for me. All right, so I'm gonna open up back this way. You'll see me switching sides as well, kind of opening up to both sides of the canvas. So whether I'm painting in my studio or live on stage, I don't think about like I'm using both of my hands to paint. I'm thinking about using my whole body to move, to get these brush strokes out. Start to see, I don't know if anyone can see. Sure enough, I'm already sweating, like literally just minutes into this. Okay, so white, mixing a little bit white over here. Going back to the wall, using the wall as a palette. All right, we're gonna switch these brushes up. Let's go here. Dip into the gray. Yes. Oh, actually, feel free to come up to the mic so that the online audience, don't be shy. All right, perfect. I like this. Just, yeah, go ahead and talk to the mic and they can hear you online. Yes. Yes. Wow, that's a great question. So can I share 3? My top 3? There's so many. All right, I love how like I'm instructing the question, like ask the top 3. So my top place, because it was one of the most unique places that I got to perform at, was in Cuba. So in 2015, as it was opening up, we actually went twice to Cuba. That changed my life, meeting artists from the area. That was one of the most amazing places. I think the other place in the top 3 was China, just because, again, one of these, I know I'm picking like these really weird places, but as an American, we have this idea of countries in our mind that we're not supposed to go, we're not supposed to agree with, but when you go there and meet the people, not the government, you make these connections with them, and it's incredible. So there, and then crazy enough, one of the most amazing places I got to go to was Kiev, Ukraine, in 2019. We were on tour there with KISS. I was opening up for them around the world. We spent a few days there, and it was one of the coolest shows that we had done, and also the people as well. So That's my top 3. Kind of interesting.
But I'm going to say that maybe some of your nonprofit things that you've done here
Yeah.
have been pretty
Oh yeah.
that you've had.
Oh yeah. No, we've done a lot of stuff locally as well in Sacramento. I mean, we've, what's that?
2. I've done 2.
Oh yes, yes, yeah. Yeah, we've done a lot of charity events here in Sacramento. I mean, that's really where my giving goals started, was here in Sacramento, and it's just continued around the world, so. Yeah, what organization do you work with?
Right now, Sacramento SPCA.
Okay.
But you did American Heart, and you did another one, and we did that at the studio in Southside, which
Yes.
was the very first time that you ever did it.
Yeah.
My husband and I had you do Mickey Mouse.
Okay,
And then down on our street, we had 20 people.
okay.
Party, and you did Touch of the
Yes, yeah, those are fun events. Okay, thanks for sharing. What was your name, by the way? Evelyn, great to meet you. Good to see you again, actually. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. So, yeah, we give away a lot of studio experiences. Where imagine this, but like for your family and friends. No one else sees it, so we donate those to a lot of charities, locally and around the country. All right, we're gonna keep bringing this all together.
David,
Yes, hi.
how are you painting with all different colors?
Yeah, what was the question again?
How are you painting all organized?
Oh yes, how are they all organized? That's a great question. So I put everything in order so that I can, so as I build this first with the skin tones, or if I'm on stage and I'm working on a portrait, I'll always have all my skin tones on one side. And then the other side are all the other colors, but not in any particular order. I'm a little crazy like that. They probably should be in order, but they're not. So, but yeah, always skin tones on one side, and then just a bunch of random colors on the other. So, no, thank you for the question. Appreciate that. All right.
Dad said hi.
What's that?
Dad said hi.
Oh, tell him I said hello as well. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. All right. We're going to keep going. We're going to establish a little skyline down here. Thank you for the questions. Appreciate that. What was that question? Ooh, what do I like to do to unwind? Well, I would say definitely one of my favorite things. I love wine and cigars. So that's some of it. I also love to go stand-up paddleboarding when it's warm though. So it's been a while since I've been out there. But no, I love to be out on the water alone, just on the board, or I'll take my kids out. They'll have their own board and we're kind of just like floating in the water, and it's just so peaceful. So, and that's also outside of art. Actually, believe it or not, even when I'm not touring or even doing these live streams, I love to just paint and create to get my mind off things, but if not, I'll be floating on some water. But thank you for the question. Yeah, so someone asked, do I still use spray paint? Of course. I may use some today, but I'll definitely warn the live audience before I do that, because some people are more sensitive to it than I am. Okay. What did I have for, I actually had one of those protein boxes from Starbucks, believe it or not. I think I could live off of those. I could eat those 5 times a day. That and sushi, I could probably live off of. All right, we're gonna leave that right there. Grab some other brushes.
David,
Yes.
how do you get your vision?
Ooh, thank you. What was your name, by the way? JR, thanks for the question. So how do I get my vision? So there's numerous things that I'll do. For example, I'll always start with the subject. So when I do that, I'm thinking about, if I'm at a show, thinking about the overall message of the show, how do I use the art? For this, I'm thinking about what's going on in the world today, or what's inspiring me. This one in particular, what's going on in the world. And then I start to think about, how do I compositionally put elements together to present that idea? So if it's a portrait of someone, what other elements besides the portrait, like colors, or a particular profile of that person? This one, I want to evoke some emotion. So I'm thinking about what elements can show and feel what that is. So once I start going down that list, who are we talking to? Where are we? What images best represent that? And then going forward from there, I try to study the image like I was studying before I came out here. And then it's just executing and trusting the process from there. So, and then as I go, I'm also making it up as I go sometimes. So don't be fooled, like there's an idea, but you have to let the creative process speak to you. And the more you create, the more you learn what that sounds like. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Thank you, JR, yes. Thank you for that. Show some love to JR. Yeah. So these are the things I can't do during a live show. I mean, I guess you could. I actually did have someone jump on stage at a show one time. So I'll tell you this quick story as it's coming to life. So we just went back out with Kiss on tour in the fall, so from August to October. And management had this great idea for me to perform in the middle of the audience. Like they have they call it a B stage. It's like this huge round thing that Paul Stanley flies out to. And so at first I thought, I was asking, can I fly out there? And they said no. And they said, no, we want to set up your paints and your performance on the B stage. And so I just immediately didn't really like the idea, but I'm a team player, so we went along with it. Yeah, we're team players here. So we do it, and first night we're in Mansfield, Massachusetts. I'm super hyped about the show. The first painting is Angus Young from AC/DC. Like, it's a sold out crowd, maybe like 15,000 people. I'm in the center of it. It's feeling good until there was a gentleman. So when you're in the middle of the audience, there's like another section where people are walking by. So there's like the front row seats, and then there's a lawn, and I'm in the middle of this. So there's people walking by. This gentleman thought I looked thirsty, or he thought I needed a drink break. So we have video of this, by the way. So he's screaming at me, and I'm trying to just perform and stay focused. He's screaming at me. He's like, I don't know what he was saying. He had this big beer in his hand. So since I wasn't responding, he thought this would be a great idea to just hop on stage. So he hops on stage, I'm performing, and this is like, COVID was still kind of going, so I wasn't comfortable with just a random person in front of me. Anyways, it didn't take long. Security, we'll say, lifted him off the stage and took him off. So I don't even know why I was telling that story now, but that was one of the most interesting times that I think I had someone ask a question during the show. All right, we're gonna leave that right there. Actually, let's get some white. So when I'm using this color, not only am I thinking about the actual colors that I'm using, I'm also thinking about the value of it. So that's the light the lights and shadows of each of these colors and thinking about how they are creating the shape rather than just kind of filling it in as a subject. So I'm gonna use some of this white to kind of block in this image. All right, let's keep going. Go back to these yellow brushes. A little gold. By the way, thank you, Ray, for the music. Appreciate it. Oh, yes. It's a great question. Matter of fact, I actually shared a story about this on my podcast, on the first episode of The Paint Method, which is on Spotify right now. So yeah, there was actually one artist who I really looked up to. At the time I was doing these sort of urban jazz, hip hop theme images, and the artist who was like the biggest in that space was Justin Bua. So I looked up to him, I messaged him, and just made sure that he knew that I looked up to him. So that was early on when I first started painting, and as time went on, I was very, very dedicated to succeeding at this. Like, I wanted to play on the level that he was playing on. So at some point, my paintings started showing up next to his in poster stores around the world, and he wasn't too happy about that. He wasn't too happy. So he thought he'd sent a letter to me and to ask me to stop doing it through his attorney. They tried to sue me and say, hey, your style's too close to his, it's not working out. And this is like my hero. Fast forward, that moment actually forced me to actually triple down on my performances, because I was doing the fine art, but I was also doing performing, and I wasn't giving my all to either one. So I just doubled down on performance painting, and honestly, it's really the moment that drove me to get to where I am today. Fast forward over a decade, Justin and I talked in 2020 live for the first time, because I was like, I got nothing to hide. Let's talk. We talked on Instagram Live. It was just a misunderstanding. A lot of people between us that didn't allow us to talk, and I can say now, Justin, I love you, brother. I'm honored to be your friend now today. So. But no, I love Justin. Justin Bua is definitely a huge inspiration. I would say, Denny Dent, who started this style of performance painting, is another huge inspiration for me. And who else? Leroy Neiman. And please go look up these names, because these artists, you'll start to see the influence that they had. Try to blend some of these colors together. I may come back and use some spray paint after this. All right, Sandy and Steve. Right here? All right, hi, how's it going? Show some love. You guys are getting shout outs on, I love that. Thank you. All right. Let's go back over here. Keep those questions coming in the chat. Oh, what's one of the best places I've ever eaten on tour? Has to be almost everywhere in the South, but I would say, where is it? Birmingham, Alabama. Some of the best barbecue. Shout out to everyone in Birmingham and at Culture City for feeding me out there. All right, we're gonna add some more colors to this. We can see what the image is, right? We're showing some love to our brothers and sisters in Ukraine right now. You know, when these world events happen, I start getting these messages or DMs like, hey, when are you gonna do a painting for this or that, or we lost this person? And honestly, I think people forget sometimes, like, you know, I've got family, kids. We were at gymnastics earlier today before this live stream. And so I don't always get to respond to every single thing. We try to respond and support as much as that we can. But this was definitely something that I wanted to take the time to make sure that we showed some love. All right, let's go ahead and throw some paint around. We're gonna dip it in the water so it moves. You know, these messages can also be, you know, as we wanna entertain, we also still wanna use this platform to inspire as well. Let's go back to the blue, dip it in some paint. Okay. All right, so we'll go here. All right, painting number one, done. So this painting is just inspired by the world events happening right now, and we just want to send truly our love to those of you who are in Ukraine, those who are Ukrainian, have family back there, and just really anyone affected by this conflict. We don't know what the future holds, but I know that we can love today. So take a closer look, and then we also have one more painting right after this. Take a look. You can go in. You want to go in? Jeremy? You can go show them the, yeah. Okay, cool. By the way, those of you watching online, thank you again for watching. The best way you can support these live streams is to share it. So if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this, share it, and of course, subscribe. If you're on Facebook or any other platform, just feel free to share this video to any platform that you're watching this on. All right. And we're gonna give away some stuff, is that okay? Yes. Oh, yes. It's a great question. So I'll explain the image. We'll stay on Jeremy right now. So really, it's a kind of a smoke-filled heart. So the Ukrainian flag has the blue on top, yellow on the bottom. So kind of this smoke plume in the back just represents the colors of Ukraine. Yeah, kind of through the destruction, still trying to find something positive and some love. Yeah. It is, yes. So there's Kiev, so there's a famous statue that I painted on stage. You'll see it on the left, and just some other silhouettes of the city back behind there. All right, let's bring it over here. Let's do some giveaways. Ooh, all right, we'll go here. All right, welcome back everybody. We're here. We've got, how much time is on that clock till we get to the next one? 4 minutes, all right, we're gonna get to the next one. Ray, let's go ahead and change out the canvas. It's already ready to go. And then also, do you have the prints ready to go for giveaways? All right, Nessa is gonna bring some prints over here. So we had some people ask questions in the live audience. Can you just raise your hand real quick if you asked a question? All right, so, and also down there, I know you asked, there you go. So if you asked a question, we're gonna give you, you too. We're gonna give you a print, a poster over here. So Jeremy, go ahead and get them. So it pays to ask these questions. I appreciate it. All right, let me check out this chat real quick as we're handing out some of those prints and posters. We're getting ready for the next painting. I've got another one for you. The last painting inspired by just what's happening in Ukraine and in the world today. Let's see. Oh, so someone asked me, what's my favorite song on the radio right now? Man, I don't think I listen to anything really current. I think I just listen to like Spotify playlists. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do one of my favorites right now, so I won't give it away, but it's in the reggae theme. I'll say that. That's what I've been listening to a lot of recently. Let me check out some of these other chats. Again, if you're watching online, let me know where you're watching from, so your city, state, or country. I know we had some people from Texas and Denmark earlier. Let's see, someone asked, yeah, yes. They asked if I'm married. I'm like, not yet. Where's she at? Yeah, we're working on that. Did she ask that? Diane in Roseville, welcome to you. All right, you know what? I'm in this creative mood. I'm ready to just start painting. We're not gonna wait for the countdown. Let's go ahead and get into the next painting. Is that okay? All right. All right, let's see what I want to start with. Let's go over here. I mix some of these colors on the wall first. All right, let's paint. Oh, that's a great question. So do I mix my own performance tracks or do I have a DJ? Believe it or not, I mix all the performance tracks. The performance tracks, the transitions. I'm doing too much, basically. I'm doing everything. But no, on top of painting, I enjoy music. So I love, not only enjoying and listening to it, but cutting them up in a way that's gonna create momentum for the performance and also be entertaining for the audience as well. Oh, I forgot to say earlier too, feel free to take photos and videos if you're in the audience, so I forgot to mention that. Yes, please, go for it.
So I do art too, but I got ADHD, so I can do all different kinds of art.
Yes.
Do you do anything else but paint?
It's a great question. So do I do anything else with paints? I mean, I definitely do a lot of music. So I'm always mixing the music or composing music for the performances. Do a lot of Legos with my son? No. I'm trying to think. I mean, outside of painting, just the basics of drawing a lot. I think the other thing that I do a lot of is I paint digitally. So in Procreate is an amazing app on the iPad that I use. Such a cool app, so I do a lot of that as well. But I love paint. Like I'm just covered in it.
Yeah, that's good. I've been good at painting.
Yeah.
I started out drawing like flash art tattoos.
Yeah.
Then I went, I learned how to etch, because I wanted to know how money was made.
Yes.
So I did the plates, screen printing, and it ended up to watercolors and acrylics.
Okay. You have to show me some afterwards.
I will.
Yes, I can't wait to see it.
If you
What
got
was your name, by the way?
Dawn.
Dawn.
You got an iPad charger or iPhone charger?
Okay, yeah, we'll find one for you. So, make some noise for Dawn. Thank you for asking the question. Appreciate it. We can make some noise for Dawn. Thanks for asking the question. All right. Let's get back to this.
I have a question.
Yes,
too.
please.
I was wondering, since you use such a large canvas, do you ever draw, or have you ever drawn any inspiration, like from Native American rock art, petroglyphs, the cave paintings that are so famous in France and Germany?
Yeah, I haven't, but you'll have to share some with me. Maybe I can draw some inspiration from it. But with like painting this big, it's interesting. It sort of draws from more inspirations like performance and dance, and so the images are more like pop. But I would love to see some work that you have in mind.
No, well, I don't have any work of my own, but I can share some that
Yes,
I've seen.
or that, yeah. No, thank you for sharing that. What was your name?
Lynette.
Lynette. Thank you, Lynette. Make some noise for Lynette. Appreciate that. Love the questions. We're just starting on the second painting right now. Those of you watching online, keep those questions coming. Appreciate that. This one is inspired by just, you know, we had some music that I'm feeling right now. I've always been into it, but I think more so than ever, especially what is going on in the world. I think some music to one just brings some peace to me. And then also, I think it's still fitting for what's happening in the world. I'm curious who will be able to guess this. What was that? Possibly, I don't know. We'll, possibly. That's a very good guess, sir. My goodness.
All right, David, I have a question.
Yes.
We see you working up a sweat there. Have you ever checked your Apple Watch and ran a workout during one of your paintings, and how many calories do you burn in one?
That's a great question. So Stephanie, thank you for that. Yeah, I have. So during a show, I think I've gotten up to about 500 plus calories in like a 30-minute show. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, if you ever are looking for an alternative workout, try to paint each wall in your house in 5 minutes and just sweat profusely. And it's the same thing. Put your Apple Watch on, yeah, or your Fitbit, you know, whatever. It's a great question. No, I didn't realize when I started painting that I was getting into such a physical job. So over time, I've had to really, I've had to like face myself in the mirror. I'm like, we've got to get in shape, David. We got to be ready for these performances. So it is, it's become a passion. Yeah, I have an in-house trainer, so thank you, Chadi. All right, let's get back to this.
Hey, David.
Yes.
My name's Steve. I noticed that a lot of your paintings, you do unique eyes. You actually don't paint them, you leave it black and paint around them. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so really in general what I'm doing, and Steve, thank you very much. So really in general what I'm doing is I'm creating shapes. And what I'm leaving behind is the negative space. So that's the shadows. So normally if you're working on a white canvas, you fill in the shadows. And so since I'm working backwards, if I were to do the eyes on a white surface, I would actually paint them in a dark color first. So I would put my shadows down and then I would build the light on top of that. So luckily for me, I kind of already sped up that process by having a black surface. And yeah, I think the hardest thing about this and the eyes is the eyes speak so much to the viewer. So sometimes they're off. You know, there's some shows I do and like Martin Luther King Jr. is just looking too excited. So it's really something that I'm still trying to master, but learning what shapes evoke what emotions. And so hopefully I can get a good vibe off of these eyes right now, but it's all about shapes. Creating them and then leaving them behind as well. Great question, thank you, Steve. So I've done Bob Marley before, but I've never done this actual image of him. So I'm sort of figuring it out as I go. But these portraits are about, you know, I do want them to capture the likeness, but I think more than anything, and probably any artist can relate to this, you really want it to feel like them. You know, when it comes to the colors, when it comes to what they're wearing, their stance, just everything about it.
What's up, David?
Hey. How's it going?
Good. As
Christiana?
an artist starting out, did you ever deal with self-doubt, and how do you get over that?
It's a great question. So when I started out, there was definitely a ton of self-doubt, and I think that was more inflicted by outside noise. So I started to believe what people were saying, even though I knew I wanted to be an artist, even though I knew I had a vision for my life. There's so many people that it wasn't their vision, so they don't think that you're capable of it. So they try to put on you. And I started to listen to that. And I think over time, once I realized that it was them speaking to me, and I had to turn up the volume on my heart. And you do that by every single time you act on your creative idea. So I don't know who said this. I think it was Maya Angelou, but the more the more creativity you use, the more you get. And as artists, we have this fear like, oh, I don't want to use up all my ideas. And it's just simply not true. And so the confidence really comes in acting on as many creative ideas as you can. That turns up your heart volume. And it quiets out the noise of people who don't have that in their heart for their life. So everyone deals with it. I deal with it. Every artist that I've talked to have levels of that. It's almost like I don't believe that people have no fear at all. It's getting comfortable with overcoming it. Same thing with self-doubt. People all have self-doubt. Getting comfortable with overcoming that as well.
Love it.
So,
thank you.
thank you, Christiana, for the question. Appreciate it. All right, let's get back to this. Love the questions today. Thank you to everyone that's asking those. Yes.
My name's Kainoa Steele. There's something I want to ask you.
Yes.
I'm learning about watercolors in my school, and I've been meaning to ask, what's easier for you to paint with, watercolors or acrylics?
Ooh, that's a great question. So one thing, I love watercolors. I have some prints that I've come out with. I used to, when I would travel and I'm on planes, I would use watercolors. So I think they're just totally different mediums. The watercolors kind of takes on a life of its own. So when you add pigment to the water, it can kind of go all over the page, and you've got to control it differently. But I would say for me, just because I do it more, is acrylics for sure are much easier to, but that's only because I do it all the time. But watercolors, it just takes a lot of practice. So with like anything else. Yeah. All right, thank you very much, appreciate it. Thank you. Building this up, one brush stroke at a time. The crazy thing about this paint is I feel like sometimes people don't realize that when you look at a painting up close, it's not a face. It's pieces of color that give the illusion that there's a face there. And once you start breaking down paintings or what you're doing, as in, let's focus on this section first. So I focus on creating shapes and using these colors rather than being overwhelmed by trying to create a portrait. So as I'm painting this, what's going through my mind is I'm now focusing on imagining there's a light source up here, and I'm just kind of adding light to these shapes and focusing on that rather than getting overwhelmed, which is very easy to happen by trying to create a portrait per se, or trying to think about it as a whole image. Ooh, I love that question. So someone just asked if I could paint anywhere in the entire world. I already know this, the Northern Lights. I would want to paint under or around the Northern Lights. So they're up, usually, I don't know where it is, different places. There's some in Iceland, there's some in Sweden, I think Alaska as well. Sort of just basically anywhere it's really cold up high. There's these beautiful color lines that, I've seen video and pictures of them. They're in the sky. I just think it would be beautiful to paint around them or under them. I don't know, that's my dream. That's my big dream right there. I'm definitely at this point though where I am trying to think of like, what's the next crazy place that I could paint, because I've already done some crazy ones, like places that we've gone on tour and some venues. But if it's not space, we'll do the Northern Lights for sure. Ooh, who's an artist that inspires me that's outside of my genre of art? That's a great question. Man, there's so many. I gotta think about that. because I'm inspired by a lot of film. So there is a movie that came out on Netflix called The Harder They Fall, and I wish I knew the director's name. Maybe someone can look up the director of The Harder They Fall, but just the visually how directors frame images on the screen, compositions that they create with moving images is so inspiring to me. So it's not painting, it's not drawing, but they're doing it with moving pictures. And so that's one of the coolest films that I saw recently. And also, I love, Steven Spielberg does the same thing as well. When you start to look at how he uses light and composition to tell his stories, you know, people like him. So that's just some, I would say, so film directors are some of the artists that are outside of my genre that inspire me. All right, so let's go ahead and start adding some more details, and then we'll start shaping in around the head. Great questions. Yes.
Was Jamie Samuel.
Jamie Samuel.
Yes.
All right.
Is The Harder They Fall. And
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Where did the handprint come from?
Well, that's a great question. So, and what was your name?
My name's Patrick.
Patrick. All right. Thank you, Patrick, for the question. Appreciate it. So, where did the handprints? When I started, Denny Dent was a huge inspiration to this performance painting, and he every time he ended a show, he would always do these handprints, and I thought it was so cool. And also, it's sort of like in theater, you go like, and scene. That, to me, the handprint, without saying it's over, says it's over. So I just thought it was genius, and I really credit Denny Dent for the use of the handprint, and also how, as a performer, it sort of just ends it off. It's like a signature. And so that's also a tribute to Denny Dent as well, every time I handprint that. And I love to see other artists. Sometimes people will message me and say, hey, there's this other artist doing a handprint. And I'm like, we all have hands. Like, we all can dip them in paint, and we can all do, there's nothing unique about it. And in fact, I think it actually brings us together. So I celebrate it. You know, when you go home, dip your hand in some paint, it feels good. And then just slam it on, kids don't do this, but maybe the parents, just slam it on a canvas or like a paper or something, and it just feels good to you know, make that mark. But I hope you can experience that one day. All right, let's ditch this. Let's start blocking in some of the signature dreads. All right. Just think,
David,
yes.
I have a comment. My name's Yana.
Yana, welcome.
Thanks. And well, I know now that your dream was to paint the Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights.
Yes.
Well, one of my dreams was to see you paint live.
Oh, wow.
And though I can't duplicate that young lady's happy dance
Yeah.
that she did, it's how I feel inside
Wow.
today.
Thank you so much.
you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, Yana. Man, that's so sweet. I appreciate you. And really anyone who's here, taking the time to be here and for watching. You know, to kind of go off of what Cristiano was sharing earlier, as an artist, you carry a lot of self-doubt, like, will this translate well? Will people be into it? And once you just put that all aside and you really put out into the world what you enjoy, what you love, it moves people in a different way. And so I'm grateful that I get to do that and be with you guys today. So thank you. All right. Let's go ahead and bring in some more color. It's like a calypso vibe over here. I'm like, what colors make me want to go to Jamaica? If you want to put on some Bob Marley. Gonna add a little highlight. right, let's ditch that. Go back to these smaller brushes. And then we're gonna add some elements over here. All right, so someone asked, have I ever thought about doing painting a series of Sacramento icons? I haven't, but I definitely have been able to paint some along the way, just kind of individually, you know, whether it's people like Uriah Faber, the UFC legend from here in Sacramento, Wayne Thiebaud, who is probably one of the most popular artists to come from Sacramento. He was, him and Andy Warhol were, you know, out around at the same time. There's been some others. But. See, I mean, there's a line there now, but I'm just sort of like, I feel like I'm just scribbling on the canvas. I'm just thinking about what shapes will bring this to life. Let's go back here, go back to this gray. Okay, I'm gonna go just a brush size smaller. Is everyone doing good? Was good on time? All right, appreciate that. Let's drop down here. Yes. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for coming back, by the way. You've been here a couple times.
Hey, David, I have another question.
Yes.
Are you fully ambidextrous, or do you, like, if you have to write with one hand, which hand do you choose?
If I have to write with it, I'm definitely right-handed. But if I have to write with my left, I'll definitely make it happen. So it's you don't want to see me throw a football with my left hand.
Okay.
Let's just say that, yeah. I'm definitely more right-handed than anything else. But I had to force myself to learn, partly because when I saw Denny Dent painting, you know, Denny Dent, when he started this performance painting, he was doing the paintings in 5 minutes. And I thought, if I'm gonna, so when I tried it, I tried with one hand, and it took way too long. So then I had to start thinking, okay, what do I need to learn? One, I need to get in shape. And then two, I need to learn how to paint with both hands. So it was sort of like, sort of forced it on myself to do that. All right, let's go back here. A little gray. Trying to create these. All right, so how old was I when I realized painting was my passion? I think just art in general. I'd never have thought any different. So luckily I had very encouraging parents, and I know that most people don't have the most encouraging environment when it comes to pursuing the arts. And you know, my parents, they were very encouraging, helped me believe that anything was possible. And so I just never thought that there was another option, to be honest. So ever since I was a kid, I've just always wanted to pursue it in some way, shape, or form. Let's go back here, add some highlights. All right, we are, let's see, do I have any spray paint? I know, we'll skip the spray paint today, but let's keep filling in the outside. Back here. Add some more texture to these dreads. All right. I'm always worried about the front row of these. I'm doing this and I'm looking back like, are they good? Are they getting up to check their clothes? I'm sure you'll let me know if I get paint on you. All right, let's get one last handprint on this. There we go. Thank you. So thank you again. Don't go anywhere. We have some more giveaways. I'm pretty sure we have more stuff to give away, but this was my second of the 2 paintings I did today. The first one inspired by what's happening in Ukraine, sending some love to them. This one of my favorite musicians, Bob Marley, with some lion, with some protests in there, just, you know, of someone who made music for the people. So take one last look get a closer look at that. Also, those of you watching online, the best way to support these is to share these videos and share them. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe. All right, can't wait to give away some more stuff. Well, actually, let me grab one of these. All right, so take one last look at Bob Marley and then let's chat. All right, welcome back everybody. So we did some giveaways earlier and we had some more people ask questions. Can we see another round of hands of those of you that asked questions? Can we go on them? All right, so Nessa, I know we have prints, but do we have shoes? Okay, actually I'm gonna give those out afterwards, yeah, but okay, keep your hands raised so we can get you some of these prints and posters, and thank you for asking those questions. Definitely, you guys are become the stars of the show. So I'm just over here finger painting, you know. So thank you for that love. And those of you who are watching this online, if you want to join our audience here in the studio, you can send me a text to 916-866-8101, or you can register at garibaldiarts.com/studio. We'll post the next date sometime soon, hopefully. I gotta look at my kids' schedule. So they have a lot going on, so. Otherwise, I'd be doing this every day, but they're like, Dad, no, I've got theater and gymnastics, so it's all good. I saw a question come through in the chats. Lori Gardner asked, what was a memory maker from the KISS tour? Man, I think just being on it. So the first show ever that we did to open up for KISS, even the first show, I was walking in there thinking, are you sure I'm the guy? Like, because there's another David Garibaldi who's a drummer, very famous drummer. Like if you search my name, you almost, because maybe some of you searched and they're like, does he drum also? No, he's a very famous drummer. So I'm just thinking, maybe they meant to hire the drummer and then I showed up. Or maybe they wanted me to do their makeup and I'm here painting their portraits. So just doing the very first show, that was the wildest thing. I remember coming off stage, just like, this is so unreal. So that was great. Let's see, my mom must have stepped away because she said she missed the Ukraine one. So Mom, you'll have to go back and watch that. And again, also before we get out of here, before we close this out, please let me know where you're watching this from in the chat so I can shout you out. Let me just scroll through these. All right, someone else guessed Tupac earlier, but until I added the dreads. All right, yeah, so send in where you're watching this from. And then also we got my performance shoes to give away. We have 5 pairs of shoes. Is that right? Nessa? We have 5 pairs of shoes? All right. I'm gonna, as soon as we log off, I'm gonna hand those out. So if you could just get those ready for me over there. In the meantime, if you haven't listened to it already, check out the Paint Method podcast. We have our first episode up on Spotify and YouTube right now. Second episode drops tomorrow, Sunday, and we'll be dropping episodes twice a week. So every Thursday and Sunday is new episodes of the Paint Method. And again, it's really about breaking down paint, so passion, action, intent, new, and teach, and how you can apply those just in your everyday life. I talked to different guests here, whether they're friends that are celebrity chefs or artists or even entrepreneurs, and just pulling from them some inspiration that you can take and use every single day, discovering where you are and creating where you go next. So I hope you guys can check that out. Shout out to Jason in Sydney, Australia, Stacy in Tennessee, Scott in Sacramento, and Kurt in Acampo, California. And also one last one, Sacramento, our live audience. I appreciate you all for being here. And that is our time today. Thank you so much for being here. I am David Garibaldi, and this was Paint Life Live. Peace. Yeah. All right. I need those shoes. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna give away some of these shoes.